Cancer, you are the crustacean of the zodiac, the crab that governs all in life that is homey, familiar, sacred. But what if I told you that 2024 for the crabs is about leaving your shells behind, departing your comfort zone, and initiating a brand new era? Hi, my name is Haley Comet, and welcome to my Cosmic Corner of the Internet, where we discuss all things astrology, and today, all things Cancer 2024 forecast. What is ahead for your year ahead? How you can seize the cosmic opportunities that await you within the next trip around the sun, and how you can navigate some of these celestial challenges that await you within your unique lineup of transits that you are experiencing. This video is part of my brand new series. It's called the 12 Days of Cosmos, and within this video, I'm taking every single sign through their 2024 major themes to keep top of mind. And the videos you'll want to watch from this series is most certainly a rising sign that will be the most accurate forecast for your year ahead, and to a lesser degree your sun sign. This is because throughout this video I'll be utilizing techniques that pull from your solar houses, which is your sun sign, and your actual houses, which is your ascendant. Now you're so welcome to listen for your other placements for your moon. I know you winners do love your moon, Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, whatever you would like, but just know that a lot of the techniques that I pull from in order to paint a picture of your year ahead will be based off houses, which will be the case if you are a Cancer sun or a Cancer ascendant. And before we dive into all of your transits, Cancer, because let's be real, there's a lot coming in for you next year, I want to just let you know, just in case you are not familiar with me and my work. Hi, my name is Haley Comet. Welcome to my Cosmic Corner. So a big mission that all of my work revolves around. Every single video you'll see on this channel, every single offering that I put out there, it all revolves around this mission of empowering individuals with astrology. It is never my intention to fearmonger you with this information. I simply want to empower you to know the themes that are coming up and how to co-create with the cosmos in order to make 2024 simply magical. And this year on the menu, we have closing out a karmic cycle that has been alive within your universe since 2008. We have stepping into a fearless era as it relates to your business and to your career. So we have a lot to talk about, Cancer. So let's go ahead and get into telling the story of the Cancer 2024 forecast, stepping out of the comfort zone. So Cancer, in telling the story of your 2024, I wanted to start by getting you acquainted with your defining transit of 2024, which is a transit that when you think of 2024, years into the future, you'll remember, oh, 2024, that was the year that Pluto wrapped up its journey in Capricorn. Pluto has been transiting your opposite sign, Capricorn, since 2008. That means that at one point in time between now and 2008, you've experienced a Pluto transit, a Pluto opposition to be exact. And what I want to tell you, Cancer, is that not everybody has to go through a Pluto opposition during their time here on Earth. We will only experience Pluto transiting through a handful of signs through the years that we have on this planet. Not everybody has to go through that rebirth that you have gone through. And of course, this shows up in many different shades, but I firstly want to say that that story that's been ongoing since 2008 comes to a close within 2024. And there can be a certain energy around the rebirth finally feeling complete and finally feeling that you're able to move into some semblance of security after a lot has been taken from you. That's the energy of Pluto. And I want to let you know that you will have felt this Pluto energy punctuate in the moments that it exactly opposed your Cancer placements. You'll want to look at the degrees. But for this year, I want you to observe if you have Cancer placements at 29 degrees. That means that you will have a Pluto transit within 2024. Now, you've already had this. Keep in mind, Pluto has been to this sector of the sky. It's been dabbling into Aquarius, and it finally sets in for the long haul November 2024. Okay, all of my cardinals are invited to a party November 2024, RSVP below, to be able to celebrate and commemorate how much growth has taken place. Because when it comes to Pluto, Pluto is the planet of transformation. It is the planet of power, but not just power that is given, power that is earned. And the sector of life, Cancer, that this energy was focused upon was around relationships. So taking some space and time in 2024 to really acknowledge how far you have come within your connection, within relationships overall, healing from connections. There can be an energy around wrapping up the transformation that's been underway since 2008. So this is going to show up in a lot of different shades. For some of you, there could have been certain connections since 2008 where those connections really made you confront the darker underbelly of human nature and the human psyche. For some of you, there could have been people that you were connected to who either were deeply jealous, tried to siphon your energy from you, energy vampires, very manipulative. There could have been people who were very controlling, trying to tell you what to do, who to be. There could have been very intense experiences within relationship experiences that set you ablaze, set you on fire with passion and with intensity and left you a transformed version of yourself. And so for some Cancers, you could have gone through some major transformations within relationships throughout this time. For some of you, you could have navigated a major breakup. For a lot of you, there could have been power struggles around either that person not wanting to let you go, maybe that person even encroaching on your territory. Honestly, when we talk about Pluto, sometimes it's like a battle for survival. You could have felt like you had to fight for your ability to be your own person. You could have really had to encounter some darker themes as it relates to your connection and perhaps releasing this connection from your life. Some of you could have been caught up into a power struggle, some sort of nasty divorce, or even within business partnerships, a business partner trying to sue you or trying to control you in some essence. And when it comes to Pluto finally departing this sector, there is this energy where there will be some stability coming in around your one-to-one relationships. Now, for the Cancers who are listening, who are like, but Haley, Comet, I've been in a relationship since 2008. Observe how you and your partner have evolved. Because when it comes to 7th house transits, again, either houses or solar houses, a lot of times it can represent what our partner is going through. So some of you could have found that your partner had to navigate a period of grief. Your partner could have had an existential crisis. Like Pluto energy takes us deep into what really matters. So for some of you, you could be, yes, dating the same person that you were since 2008, but are you really dating the same person? It could be and feel like a changed version of them because of what it is that they have gone through, because of what it is that they have awakened to, or who it is that they have lost, or what crisis that they have had to navigate. Some of you during this time with Pluto transiting here, you too as a couple could have had to navigate some crisis situation, losing jobs or losing houses. Again, Pluto oftentimes does have a tendency to take things away from us. So there could have been this energy here around wanting to build with this person, but feeling like you constantly had to start over from square one. And we all know that the energy of Cancer, you are all about security within your life. So that could have made you feel quite uneasy. This transit could have also prompted a certain transformation within your relationship. As we evolve, our relationship must evolve as well. And whether your partner started it or you started it, you can find that you are not the same couple as you were when this transit began. And Pluto energy reminds us that to grow means to outgrow. And so for some of you, you could have found this amazing transformative experience within your connection. And for some of you, there can be a nudge around where it is that you are evolving beyond this relationship. And the energy of Pluto is about transformation. So maybe it's like this connection was so good when you entered it in 2008 or whenever the connection started, but there's an energy with Pluto transiting here where you've had to get real to your psyche towards what it is that you really want and observing, am I still growing within this connection? Do we have the ability to evolve within this connection? Pluto energy brings us deep. So whether you're in a connection or not, there can be a lot of thoughts around what is it that I really want within a partnership. Do I want security? Do I want stability? Do I want passion? What's important to me? And furthermore, with Pluto being the planet of the psyche and psychology, some of you could even be getting really deep with it around, have I chosen this person because they model something that feels very familiar to me from my upbringing? We all know the energy of Cancer is associated with the past, and that's why it's so important to continually reflect upon, does this connection relate to a past version of me? Like Pluto energy can really make it apparent where it is that we are evolving and whether our connection is evolving with us. Again, I'm not saying everybody's going through a breakup this year. If you're still within your relationship at the end of this, likely the energy of Pluto has led to this deepening, this transformative energy, or at least the stability for you to be able to evolve and transform within your own right. You could have had to navigate fears, either individually or within a couple, and maybe your partner really stepped up in order to help you navigate your fears, parse out what is rational versus what is not rational. Because that leads me to a really important piece about Pluto, is that Pluto is the planet of paranoia. For some of you, you could have found that throughout this period, you have been quite paranoid as it relates to new individuals. You might have found that you were a little guarded, not wanting to open up right away. Other people might have had a really intense reaction to you in 2008. Like I said, you could have navigated your fair share of narcissists, of people who are trying to copy from you, become you, siphon your energy, and maybe that's why you are a little guarded. You're a little paranoid. And that's the struggle of Pluto. It's like it does awaken a realer version of the world where we have to confront. There are people who will try to siphon from your creativity. There are people who will try to siphon your light. There are people who will try to control you and manipulate you, but that is not the norm. And I will say, being on the other side of Pluto, you do get more acquainted with the reality of human nature. And Cancer is such a sweet, compassionate energy that you could have found since this transit began in 2008, there's been certain weird encounters within one-to-one that really made you confront the shades of experience that are alive within your one-to-one connections. And of course, discernment is always necessary, but with Pluto transiting here, you should feel, after it officially departs in November 2024, a little bit more open, a little less skeptical that people can be good and have good intentions for you and for your life. And I am of the belief that transits are portals. They take us into a new era. And for you, you are getting to the other side of this transit as a more empowered, actualized, smarter individual. And listen, you've always been shrewd. You have Cancer placements. Okay, you can read energy. You can pick up on when someone is lying to you or being deceitful to you or things of the nature, but you've been through this initiation since 2008 around having to come face to face around, dang, there really are people who may not have great intentions for me within this world. Dang, there are certain people that you will date who will want to control you. There are certain people who will not take no for an answer when you want to break up with them. Like, it makes you have to confront some of this more obsessive or intense behavior, not for you to feel like that is the norm. Again, you could feel to a certain degree on the other end of this transit, like, oh my gosh, I've just had so many weird or strange or intense experiences within one-to-one. This transit can make a lot of people jaded. But what I really feel for you, or at least what I hope for you, Cancer, is that you are still continually working that muscle of having faith. And I say muscle because you have Saturn transiting the 9th house. And with the energy of Cancer, you are somebody who is very, very sweet. You really pour into those that you love. And hopefully the energy of Pluto transiting the 7th house made you more discerning around where it is that you direct that love towards. And with the energy of Pluto and Capricorn, also just observing how what it is that you want and prioritize within relationships could have transformed. Maybe in 2008, you were looking for something particular, and now you have evolved what it is that you want from a relationship. Maybe because of the rebirth that you have navigated, the transformation that you have navigated, the grief that you have navigated since 2008, maybe it has awakened you to what it is that you really want out of this experience and what it is that you really want out of a life partner. Now, Pluto, because it is the planet of grief, I don't want you to have any fear moving into this year. That is not my intention whatsoever. Oftentimes, Pluto can show up within many nuanced shades around a certain grieving around who it is that we used to be, or even grieving a relationship. Again, to grow means to outgrow. And for some, with the energy of Pluto, there can be this deep contemplation around observing how we are feeling called to grow beyond the comfort zone of our connection. If that is what is on your heart and what is on your mind, that is not the case for every single Cancer. And some of you could just be navigating energy within your partnership around them moving through something big, them navigating grief, them even grieving a prior version of themselves. Now, I do want to highlight, Cancer, that there could have been certain contacts that you have made and may even make just in the grand finale of this transit this year with people who set fire to your soul or really catalyze and up-level your own transformation. And this shows up in so many different ways. Just as transits are portals into a different version of ourselves and into a different timeline, people can be portals as well. Whether it's someone that we're in a relationship with who catalyzed our transformation, or even just someone that you briefly interacted with where something about them just set fire to your soul. It just kind of lit a fire under your butt. There could have been certain sacred mirrors of coming into contact with very powerful people who reflected to you your own power and who sort of prompted you to up level yourself. This could show up in positive ways around a crush that you meet who something about them just makes you step into this new timeline within yourself. You're more motivated, you're more empowered, you're more resilient, what have you. Something about interacting with that person within their actualization, within their power, just what emotions that they elicited within you brought out all of these different shades and all of these different nuances of the person that you are that perhaps were there but were dormant. Like Pluto energy can be this transformation energy and stepping into a new transformative timeline through interacting with someone. And again, this could be a serious relationship, being with somebody where we step into new gifts, new talents of our own, new business opportunities with Pluto and Capricorn, right? This could be even like a, let's be real, 7th house, it's also the house of enemies. There could have been certain people that you have been competitive with or that you've had beef with who, again, inspired you to transform, to stunt on them, to tap into your most powerful self. Again, it's just fuel. And with the energy of Pluto, it's like these people that you've connected with since 2008, of course, I'm sure there's some people that are still in your life, but with the energy of Pluto, it's not the most stable influence. And sometimes connections are put into our pathway just to awaken something within us, just to kick off a new era within our journey. And so it's less so around, oh, am I going to be with this person forever? Or is this going to be my arch nemesis forever? It's simply about how that person activates and inspires and up-levels new components of ourself. I can't think of the reference exactly, but I think there was an ice skater in the Olympics who within her acceptance speech had said, and this one goes out to all of my haters, because I want to be so forthright, Cancer, you could have observed more hater energy within your orbit since 2008. People who maybe were nice to your face, had sinister intentions, people who just automatically didn't like you or had a really intense reaction to you, even people who got obsessed with you and wanted to copy you. There could have been a lot of really extreme reactions within other people. And what I want to say with the haters that could have been in your orbit since 2008 is that those can be your greatest motivators. Hate to be corny, but it's so true, particularly as it relates to competitors or people trying to steal your ideas or siphon your energy or what have you. Allow that to be fuel. It's not about them. It's about how that continues to drive you to show up. An athlete is only as talented as their competitor because it up-levels you, it challenges you in new ways to keep going, to keep showing up. Now, for some Cancers, you could have been the obsessed or the competitive one. You could have found that within somebody, a competitor, potential romantic interest, there was somebody who really captured your interest and you might have gotten really obsessed with them. And the energy of Pluto really reminds us that we have so little control out of life. I know, it's super uncomfy. I'm not comfortable with it at all, but that's the truth of the matter. And you cannot control people. You cannot influence them to live a certain way. What I would highlight here is just honoring we are all on our own path. What is meant to be will be. And just knowing that when you are directing a lot of mental energy towards someone, that is your power. You are leaking your power. Now, I'm not saying you can't think about anyone ever. All I'm saying is if there is somebody who just sets fire to you, activates you in brand new ways, that is fuel. That could be like sort of a muse type energy for you to step into your most embodied, your most empowered timeline. So take the data, take the fuel and focus it towards your own efforts. Don't leak so much of your power trying to control someone or getting very, very obsessive over someone. Or if that shows up within a competitor, focus on yourself, your own lane. Again, your energy is your currency. And when you obsess over someone around, I want this person to be mine, or you obsess over what's my competitor doing, you are leaking out your energy. And part of the Pluto transits were to activate you to step into your own power and not leak it this way or the other. And so a lot of this energy, Cancer, is in your rear view mirror. You are playing out the grand finale of Pluto in Capricorn, but for the most part, the transformation that has been underway for you since 2008 around who it is that you partner with, how it is that you show up within connections, who it is that you trust, and how it is that you function within connections, that has been through an utter transformation. And so the year starts out with Pluto in Capricorn. It re-enters Aquarius on January 20th. You have a long break of the Pluto story, and then it re-enters Capricorn on October 1st, then re-enters Aquarius for good, wrapping up the transformation that for you has been showing up within your one-to-one connections, partnerships, and interaction with the general public since 2008. So to wrap up this conversation, all I want to say, Cancer, is congratulations, and really just observe the transformation that has taken place within how it is that you show up, the person that you are, because oftentimes there can be certain sinister types that we interact with when Pluto transits here, and I hope that those experiences really clarified how it is that you want to be, how it is that you want to lead your life. Maybe you got a lot of that data around what it is that you do not want, who it is that you do not want to partner with. Again, Pluto energy transforms us, and there could be a grieving period around, I am not the same person I was in 2008. I am not the same open, trusting person that I was before this transit began in 2008. Like, allow for that grieving process if that is coming up for you, Cancer, because Pluto energy is that energy around evolve or decline. And for a lot of you, you were pushed into this new era. You were pushed into this timeline, like ready or not. Pluto energy, it can go deep. It can show up within shades of obsession and jealousy and intensity and power struggles and battles for control. And even to a certain degree, some of you felt like you had to battle for your own survival, Cancer. And I just want to say, not everybody has to go through Pluto opposition, but you did. And that makes you a survivor. So to my moon ruled loves, next we will investigate the moon in the year 2024. So as you know, you are ruled by a luminary that changes signs every 2 to 3 days. So you are the most influenced by the moon. So definitely observing when it changes signs. You're more affected by new moons and full moons. Now this section is less so about detailing every single time moon changes signs, because then we would be there all day. And besides, I do a weekly horoscope series. It's called Magic Monday here on my channel, where I break down what the moon is doing every single week and how that's influencing you. And so you'll be able to stay tuned with the moon every week of 2024 there. But within this section, we're going to detail the big picture themes of the moon, which is told by the story of North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra, which is a story that I want to let you know is accentuated by the eclipses. I'll let you know the eclipse dates and themes in a moment, but let's firstly set the scene around where fate is guiding you, or where fate is finding you, because that is the domain of the North Node and the South Node. And so with North Node in Aries, you are being pushed by the universe, low-key, into a new era of leadership within your business, within your career. You are being guided to be open to new opportunities to show up within a more public way. And it's so fascinating because we know that Cancer is a sign that typically feels a little bit more comfortable in private, right? Keeping things sacred. But this is the year you're being asked to step into the spotlight, my love. And that's going to vary based on the crustacean who is watching this video right now. But what I want to say is that with the energy of North Node in Aries, you could feel launched into visibility. You can find that you are experiencing a quickening as it relates to projects that you have been working on. You can feel thrust into a new leadership position. A lot of you could be starting a new business or something that is brand new for you. And I want to let you know, Cancer, that it is absolutely natural for you to question as you're embarking upon this transit, to ask yourself, am I ready for this? But it's important to highlight North Node is in Aries. This is the sign around being fearless and knowing that you have something to share, you have something to say, you have a way that you're meant to inspire. And this is a year that you can feel activated in order to do that. And honestly, Cancer, even though the Aries, very direct, very forthright, very bold, dynamics different than your own, it's important to highlight this is a fellow cardinal sign. And you can't forget you're a cardinal sign, right? Cardinal signs within astrology are driven by taking action, taking charge, initiating. So even though you're going to have certain fears of showing up, this is a time for you to show up, and you have the courage codes, you have the leadership codes within you to lead in a very radically authentic way. And honestly, for some Cancers, there's like a soul mission. There's a big sense of the something more that is helping you tap into a brand of courage that you did not even realize that you had. It's like when you're plugged into, universe source energy, you oftentimes are a lot more courageous. You're a lot more inspired because it's bigger than you. And I really feel like Cancers, a lot of you are tapping into something that feels bigger than you, or you've already started something that feels bigger than you, and it is inspiring you to show up in big, bold, brand new ways that perhaps you just a few years ago wouldn't have felt as comfortable. You are really stepping into visibility. And I know Cancers feel more comfortable in their shell, but this is the year in which you are being guided to be visible, to be seen. And it's going to be the most sustainable if you do feel plugged into this something more. If you do feel like your work is advocating for something that you hold dear, if you do feel like your work is healing something within the collective, if you feel like your passion project is allowing you to show up authentically and true to yourself. It's so important. This energy is in Aries. This energy supports you around initiating and starting. So Cancers, maybe there's been something germinating within you, and this is a time to take charge and allow it to be messy. That's the energy of North Node in Aries. Allow it to be messy. A tip I'll typically recommend for anyone who's scared to be more public or to be more out there, particularly as it relates to social media, but you could really do this across any medium, is what I'll say, go to your favorite creator, go to their channel and click oldest videos first, or if it's their podcast, go to their oldest podcast first, because it reminds you of the messy first draft, and that every single time we show up a little bit better. Some of you have just been waiting for the perfect timing to initiate, to start something, and the truth is you'll never be fully ready. Like, this is sort of the universe This is sort of the universe pushing you out of the nest, and you are ready to fly. That's what I want to tell you, Cancer. You are ready to fly, but your desire around wanting it to be perfect or to have it all figured out is keeping you from finding out how strong your wings are. That's why I want you to review, whether it's like a news anchor or a musician, go back to their first demo, go back to their first news clip, like see how far they have come. Like with the energy of North Node and Aries, it's empowering the messy first draft. It's empowering leading with action. It's empowering getting over your fears through conquering them within a more public way. So wherever you are scared to show up, remind yourself that you might have certain people that you admire and would love to achieve what they have. Remind yourself how far they have come. And know that with the energy of North Node and Aries, it's empowering you around taking that first step. Some Cancers can be starting a new career path during this transit. Some of you could be starting a new business. Like I said, I feel a lot of you are plugged in to a bigger why, a bigger calling. And the reason I say that is because in March 2024, North Node will align with Chiron, who is also transiting the 10th house of your natal chart. And Chiron is the wounded healer. And so I really see that a lot of Cancers are working through certain wounds that you have around being seen, around being visible. Some Cancers are feeling called to step into a way of how they can heal or even fight for the collective. I say fight because Aries is all about advocacy. And you know, Chiron, yes, it's where it is that we have been wounded, but it's also how it is that we heal and have the capacity to heal, and really within the 10th house for the collective. And you can be healing just by being yourself. That's what I want to say. You can be healing just by being yourself. The energy of Aries is authentic. And with South Node and Libra, we'll talk about it momentarily, but we are letting go of needing to show up within a perfect way around pretty and polished. We're empowering the messy first draft. We're empowering vulnerability with North Node aligning with Chiron. I'm not saying you have to like jump on IG Live crying, or that you need to roll up into your job as a nurse at the hospital with a t-shirt of everything that you're going through. But I do want to say that with the energy of North Node aligning with with Chiron, a lot of you are realizing that it's safe to be yourself. And it's interesting because it's showing up within a more public way. Maybe for some of you, if you're creative, maybe you're tapping into subject matter that is a little bit more vulnerable than what it is that you would touch on. Maybe for some of you, you are contemplating parts of your journey and what was deeply healing for you as you navigated, and you're feeling called to learn skills around that in order to heal and show up for others in that more vulnerable, that more healing way. For some of you, there can just be certain things that you are working through allowing them to be seen visibly. And it's so interesting because sometimes that healing can show up in that public level. Like as you step into being a counselor for others, there are parts of your story that do feel healed. As you teach something that is heart-centered for you, you are learning it yourself. As you share that short story around what it is that you went through, you begin to gain perspective on it yourself. Like there's some sort of alignment around honoring that you don't have to fake it any longer. There is this energy coming in around honoring that your sensitivity is your strength, because that's so true, Cancer. People underestimate you all so often. You were one of the strongest signs of the zodiac. You went through Pluto opposition. At that. But strength looks different. It's not compartmentalizing and shutting down. Like with North Node aligning with Chiron and within your 10th house, you are leading through that more vulnerable, heart-centered, authentic way of showing up. And this could be showing up within your career. Some of you could just find that there's something that you utilize to heal that now you're feeling empowered to want to guide or to teach yourself. For some of you, there can be healing your fears of visibility, as I highlighted. I just want to share really quick that I have my moon and my Chiron in the 12th house. So for me, I was much more comfortable within my own little world, and here I am on a ring light. But it's like the more I started showing up consistently, the more I sort of got out of my own head around it. And it was honestly quite healing, because just being able to tap into other people who have had their own Chiron stuff, right? Which you could be navigating in terms of your work as well, around people who have had certain wounds, who felt like an outcast, who felt like, black sheep, who felt different than other people. As I showed up visibly within those flaws of mine, I began to tap into people who were in alignment with that, who got me in a world where I felt like no one got me. It was very healing. And I found that only when I was able to take my Chiron stuff and make it quite visible and my public. Again, I'm not broadcasting it out, but I'll be forthright, I'll be honest. Within my forecast, I do open up and I share, and there's something healing around other people being able to tap into. I know what that feels like. In a world where I felt like I've had to hide and pretend, there are people who are on the same wavelength, and I feel that energy is coming in for you this year. Whether it's being able to be more vulnerable around what it is that you're moving through, whether it's accepting a new leadership position, whether it's stepping into a new era within your business, whatever it is, there can be an energy with North Node Chiron around being able to heal through the process of doing that work. And yes, it can make us feel vulnerable, and being honest and being authentic and allowing that honesty and allowing the authenticity to be the siren's call to attract the right opportunities and the right clients to you. So whether you work in a healing field or not, you could be the one doing the healing. You can find you're feeling called towards a healing modality of some sort that you're feeling called to initiate. But what I want to say is that there is a quickening around career. And if you get an idea, you are feeling called to act upon it. Now, what it is that you are essentially releasing, I'm not crazy about that verbiage, but the South Node is transiting Libra within the 4th house. And so with South Node in Libra, you are releasing keeping things superficial, or just like keeping the harmony just for harmony's sake. Like with the energy of North Node Aries, it's being direct. It's confronting situations head on. That's a message for one of the Cancers who's listening. There's a certain fear of confrontation that you have within career. Maybe it's having to be forthright with your boss around, you need to pay me more, or maybe being forthright with a client or something of that nature. It behooves you to be direct. Like with the energy of South Node in Libra, you're not faking the funk this year, and you're not wanting to be around on situations that are surface level. Like you've gone through this Pluto energy, you've been awakened in brand new ways. You have been awakened to new spiritual and psychological truths. And so with the energy of South Node in Libra, you're not wanting to just talk about the weather. You're not just wanting to keep the peace. Like you could be less inclined to want to say the perfect thing and come across harmonious and perfect all the time. Like with the energy of North Node Aries, you are being empowered this year to show up courageously and boldly and authentically you. That's how your chart is set up, essentially. You are here to interact with the world in a very authentic way. And Aries is the sign of initiation. So again, if there's a new idea, you could be being picked to put it out into the world. And with the energy of South Node Libra, it's so important not to let that energy run, oof, what if people don't like it, or this person thinks it's a bad idea, or this family member thinks that that's too much, or what have you. They don't have your chart. And of course, you can take the data, like Jupiter in Taurus in the first portion of the year will be transiting your 11th house. We'll talk more about it. So you can take the data from your community and from your audience and from your coworkers. You can take the data, but understand this path is your own. And Aries, where North Node is, and for you, where your 10th house is, that's how it is that you interact with the public. Aries is the sign of first. And how your chart is set up with North Node in Aries, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is a sign that is constantly associated with first. The first person to do this, the first person to do that. So oftentimes if you do have naysayers or people like, oh, that'll never work, or what have you, if that was the case, we wouldn't have airplanes. We wouldn't have light bulbs if everybody listened to when other people doubted them, or it was not conventional, right? We wouldn't have anything new. We wouldn't have anything first. So also understanding within your own way, there can be something that you are being called to put out there that is new. You could be asked to advocate for something that is heart-centered, where it's like, that's not the status quo, but someone needs to advocate for these disenfranchised groups. Like someone needs to enact change. Why can't it be me? And so with the energy of South Node Libra, some of you can be essentially letting go of needing to keep the peace or prioritize yourself through the validation of others. This could show up with family, with this energy in the 4th house. And I want to say firstly that this was a transit when I had it. I was so fearful moving into it because oftentimes when we talk about South Node, we talk about release and loss. And I was so freaked out. I was like, am I going to lose my home? Am I going to lose someone within my family? I'm super panicked about it. And I want to let you know, neither of those things happen to me, nor do they happen to most of my clients. Okay. So I just want to let you know that firstly, because I know sometimes we could be like, oh my gosh, that's so scary to have eclipses here. When it comes to this energy, one manifestation that's honestly the most common that I see is simply having less time to be at home with South Node in the 4th house because you are so busy working and advocating and healing within the grander collective, whatever it is you Cancers are getting up to this year. It seems like a lot, okay? And with South Node in 4th house, we could have less time to be at home. We could have less time to be around family. If you do have certain family members who have tried to tell you what to do or how to live, there can be a certain rejection of that, needing to carve your own path, right? You can be releasing what they've wanted for you. Some of you could be letting go of a family business or what they desired for you, or even just a role that you've played within the family unit around being the peacekeeper, keeping everyone together. With the energy of North Node Aries, you're like, life is too short to constantly have to be compromising and collaborating with you all. I need to reach out and grab my destiny. Like that's the energy that some of you could be essentially within. Now, this story will get activated around the eclipses, which are as follows. On March 25th, we have a lunar eclipse in Libra on the South Node. So this punctuates this story around letting go of the past, particularly when it comes to family. Because what I want to say is that for some of you, you've been finding your own validation based on your family and their acceptance of you. And this transit could be activating you to step outside of that pattern that you have been in. Like with the energy of North Node Aries, there's this collective call around reaching out and grabbing the desires and the life that we want. Like some of you, it feels like you've been structuring your life waiting for this validation that to a certain degree, some people are waking up this year and just realizing it's never gonna come, is it? It's never going to be enough for you. Or maybe you're even just trying to garner validation from somebody who never gave it to you in the first place. Like you are stepping into your power and you're validating yourself is really the energy. So with the lunar eclipse in Libra on March 25th, sure, there can be certain illuminations. There can be certain, fights within the family unit. There can be certain illuminations around home, around how your physical home currently isn't serving you, around how you want to move. Some of you could be moving during this time. There could be culminations occurring there. And for some of you, with this energy of South Node in the 4th house, I also see you're letting go of the past in a new way. And there can be illuminations around how stories from the past have been holding you back from seizing new opportunities. And there's an energy around wanting to be free from that. Because I just want to say, Cancer, it's easier said than done, obviously, but fourth house is not just our family, it's also our roots and our generational cycles, and just understanding that what has transpired is not your fault whatsoever, but how you move forward is your responsibility. And so there can be a certain spotlight around how there are certain fears or ways of seeing the world, or even certain connections that you have selected that are based on these old operating systems, whether your own, your family's, your ancestry's. Like, there can be illumination around understanding how these cycles and patterns have held you back to a certain instance. This can show up in many different shades. Some of you could be acknowledging the common thread of codependency and people pleasing within your generational cycles. Some of you can be observing this energy around being so attuned to the appearances and everything needing to look perfect. Even if what was happening on the inside was quite different, that could be something that you were letting go in order to claim this more authentic way of expression. That can be a story that is awakening for you. And then on April 8th, there is a solar eclipse in Aries on the North Node, which absolutely can be this energy around ready or not. Here I go. You could be stepping into a new era as it relates to career. You could be launching something new. I typically don't super recommend launching during eclipses, but you could be birthing something new, or just craving a new job. A new job could fall on your lap. A new opportunity could fall in your lap. A new opportunity to advocate for yourself in workplace could fall into your lap. Like, some Cancers, I'm seeing it's not so much a new job, but it's like new ways of advocating for yourself, letting go of people pleasing and codependency, which for some of you could have been a theme within your generational cycles. And some of you are like standing up for yourself and starting a new era around standing up for yourself in the workplace, around bosses, around authority figures, however that shows up for you. And with this solar eclipse on the North Node, it's launching you forward. A new era is beginning. So I want to close out the Aries Libra story before we move on to another outlier of the eclipses. But I want to let you know that we have a solar eclipse in Libra on the South Node on October 2nd. And I want to let you know that sometimes new beginnings are disguised as an ending. So for some of you, there could be this new beginning to live in a new city tied up into selling this home. There could be an energy around a new start for you and your own emotional balance and regulation through cutting off a toxic family member or releasing a certain cycle. There can be this merging of the new and the old and releasing the old to pave the way of the new. And I also want to highlight just overall in terms of this energy is that yes, like with North Node in 10th house, a lot of you are experiencing gain with career, but sometimes with North Node, because this isn't Jupiter, okay? This isn't just expansion. It shakes things up. So I want to let you know, Cancer, that if you have to or are forced to walk away from a position, because sometimes eclipses kind of activate that where we have no choice but to release a certain cycle. Even if we're like, am I ready to start my own business? If it happens this year, it was meant to be. I'm not saying you have to quit your job unless you strongly feel that that is what's right for you. But all I want to say is that if you are, let go, or something changes randomly and unexpectedly, I want to let you know that is your eclipse story in action. That is your eclipse story pushing you into the next chapter. Because the thing about eclipses is that to the micro level, it can be like, why, universe? Why not this job? But to the big picture, if it happens around eclipses, it was fated and it was meant to be to launch you to the next chapter. I think I've shared this story before, but I'll never forget. I got let go on Zoom on the Cancer lunar eclipse, and I was crying. I was crying on the Zoom. And if you would have asked that, Haley, like, oh, do you want to keep this job? I would have been like, absolutely, I don't want to leave this job. But honestly, there was a lot about that job that was not serving me. And that removal set up so much alignment into my world. I would not be sitting here in front of this camera if I was not fired on Zoom that day. Again, I'm not putting it out there that you're going to get fired on Zoom. All I'm saying is that sometimes our biggest blessings show up in the form of an ending and a releasing that even to an ego level, to the micro level, we're like, no, please. But you're ready. It's time. Please excuse the brief interruption, but I wanted to call out which eclipses you may feel more intensely. Now, you all are lunar sensitive, and these eclipses land in angular houses, so certainly the eclipses will be more heightened for you. But if you look at your Cancer placements and you see that you have Cancer placements at 5, 19, or 10 degrees, that means that one of these eclipses will square
your Cancer placements. Also, if you observe, if you are Cancer rising and you see that your midheaven is at 19 degrees Aries, or your IC is at 10 or 5 degrees Libra, that will also be more pronounced for you. So just to go through what degree every eclipse lands in, I just want to share the first eclipse, March 25th, that lands at 5 degrees Libra on the south node. The second eclipse on April 8th is a solar eclipse in Aries at 19 degrees Aries on the north node. And the last eclipse in this axis is on October 2nd. It's a solar eclipse at 10 degrees Libra on the south node.
Now, the last eclipse that I want to connect with you on actually happens before the solar eclipse in Libra on October 2nd, but I separated it because it does land in a different sign than the other eclipses. So the eclipse is on September 17th. It is a lunar eclipse in Pisces on the north node. Even though this year the north node will transit 21 to 1 degrees Aries and Libra, it will be so close to this full moon in Pisces that it will technically create an eclipse. Now, this is a foreshadow for next year, because next year is when the nodes officially enter Pisces and Virgo. So it's a harbinger energy, and where it's activating within your chart is it could bring certain emotional reveals around your own intuition, around your own connection to the something more around academia. And it is, with it on the north node, launching you forward into your next chapter, into your next step. But pay attention to what comes up, because that could reverberate into 2025 and beyond. So Cancer, I want to let you know that a year is a long time, and there are many transits that are ahead within the year ahead, but I wanted to detail a couple of other big picture themes that are playing out within your forecast. So the first is there are nudges to both expand as well as contract embedded within this year's horoscope. And this is indicated by Jupiter in Taurus and then entering Gemini, which for you expands your 11th house of community and then your 12th house of solitude. So let's dig in. So within the first portion of the year, from January 1st to May 25th to be exact, Jupiter will be in Taurus. And with this energy, you can find that you are wanting to network. You are communicating with lots of different people. You can be stepping into more public energy online, building an audience. You can be networking with colleagues. You could be saying yes to happy hour invitations and business networking events. Like Jupiter transiting the 11th house really asks us how it is that we are expanding our reach and our network. And if you find that you are not inspired by your friends, by the people that you are around, this transit can very well be the nudge to spread your wings in the first part of 2024. Start socializing with new like-minded individuals. Be excited by the people around you. Allow the people around you to be a source of wisdom. You know what they say, if you are the wisest person in the room, it's time to get into some new rooms. And some Cancers, like I said, I see some of you are stepping into like some altruism this year. And you can find with Jupiter in 11th house, you're really wanting to contemplate ways that you can make the future better. Whether it's your own personal future, wanting to take action to set up tomorrow you, right? Or also humanity's future. And I want to expand on that because I find it fascinating, Cancer, that this year, a lot of you are feeling called to release and shed the past, which is a big deal because you're the sign of the past. And obviously there's a lot of nostalgia and being sentimental that is embedded within your sign. That's such a beautiful part of your energy. But I just see there's this energy where a lot of you are shifting the perspective from ruminating on the past and what happened to wanting to build and set up your future. You might not even have conceptualized that you would live this long or make it to the other side of this Pluto transit. Listen, Pluto energy can be really dark. It can really feel like a battle for our own survival. And with Jupiter in 11th house, you're really wanting to make your dreams come true. You did not come this far to only come this far. And while sometimes you can be more concerned around past you and what happened to them, you are starting to attune your focus to how can I set up future me, right? How can I shift the focus around rather than ruminating and obsessing over what happened and what didn't happen? There's this perspective shift around, yes, I respect that as part of the fundamental energy that built me, but future me needs me right now, right? I can't have all my energy going to the past. I need to build my future. That can absolutely be the energy with Jupiter here. Then on May 25th, Jupiter enters Gemini, which is not great news. Jupiter does not like being here. It's in its detriment here. And it's in your 12th house, which is the hidden house. And some astrologers will say that this means that your luck is hiding. Take that if it resonates, but that has not been what I've witnessed within my client work. So what I've witnessed with Jupiter in the 12th house is that yes, you will feel inclined to draw your energy inward. For some of you, after what you've gone through with Pluto in the 7th, a lot of you are rightfully drawing your energy inward around, hey, I've seen what it is that I need to see out there. I need to take care of me right now. Like there is some weirdness out in the world. I need to draw inward to my own inner landscape and honor that. Like you know more than anyone, you're ruled by the moon. Honor these rhythms, honor these cycles, honor the call inward. Oftentimes the call inwards lead to our greatest expansions, which as a foreshadow, Cancer, next year, Jupiter enters your sign, and not only will it align with a very public portion of your chart, but Jupiter is also in its exaltation in Cancer. So it's going to transition from territory it is not happy in to territory that it loves to be in, and it's directing all of that juicy Jupiterian luck to you. So good things are on the horizon, Cancer. And it's not saying Jupiter in the 12th house is bad necessarily, but it's just this energy in which you can feel more inclined to draw more energy inward. There can be a lot happening, but it's not very visible. You're not wanting to leak out your energy to anyone who asks for it. You're being discerning. And with Jupiter in the 12th house, you could be working on something that then you debut when Jupiter crosses over into the ascendant. And I want to say that energy is so embedded with Jupiter in Gemini sextiling North Node in Aries, which exacts in July. So again, some of you could be feeling this call to like withdraw in order to level up. Like you might be a little less accessible to the outside world, but when they do see you again, you're going to be a new version of yourself, a leveled up version of yourself, a successful version of yourself, self-employed version of yourself, a healer version of yourself, whatever it is that you're stepping into. Honor the rhythm if you are feeling inclined to come inward in order to expand outward. You can be honestly going through a spiritual awakening or really wanting to dive deeper. You could be going to therapy. You could be dialing more into your dreams or into your intuitive gifts. There just could be a lot happening within your inner landscape. You may share it down the road, but I just want to say, moving into the latter half of the year, be so diligent around the care and keeping of what it is that you need, around being honoring of how it is that you are feeling called to draw inward. And again, it's not saying that you're quitting your job and just staying inside all day. Absolutely, with North Node in Aries the entirety of the year, you're hustling, you're initiating, you're getting things done. And that might be why you're drawing energy back, is because you're so busy and how it is that you're showing up. Jupiter does sextile the North Node. So there is this energy around perhaps your solitude and just kind of like working on the weekends, working on this creative project, working on learning this new certification in order to heal or to advocate in new ways. That is helping you for the bigger picture. You're really wanting your priorities to be in order. And like, I want to let you know, Cancer, that it is worth it. And like honoring that rhythm. Like I know for me, the process of creating my business was because of a hermit phase. Truly, like when I was creating it, my life was just 9 to 5 teaching yoga, building my business, 9 to 5 teaching yoga, building my business. I didn't really have a life for a bit there, but it was so worth it to get to the other side. And I'm so glad and I'm proud of past me for making that decision to build future me, where yes, I wasn't at every single, brunch with my girlfriends. No, my, dating life wasn't on and popping, but it was so worth it around the sacrifice that I was making for future me. That solitude can sometimes be beneficial. Because I also want to say, some of you could just be withdrawing your energy. Maybe you're not sure what you're meant to create or put out there. And maybe time inward is helping you come to terms with it. Maybe some of you are healing. You are going deep into these pieces. Maybe some of you are trusting your intuition more. I can see that absolutely can be the case. Now, by this point, Pluto will have dipped into your 8th house, which again, a new story is playing out until 2043, my love. So with Pluto dipping into the 8th house, again, it's leaving your sister sign alone. So this will lessen the pressure off you for sure. But Pluto is asking for this long-term transformation as it relates to your shared assets, merging. And 8th house also has to do with occult studies. So with Jupiter in the 12th and Pluto in the 8th, some of you could be really tapping into a modality. I also see this with Saturn in the 9th, learning like a time-honored modality and really wanting to understand it, really wanting to dissect and go deep and wanting to dive into hidden knowledge and tap into your own intuition. I absolutely see that can be the case for a lot of Cancers. And maybe that's helping you show up in very powerful ways, is this deeper knowledge that you are diving into. I do want to share though, with Saturn in the ninth, that's the energy that I had highlighted, where a lot of you could be learning something time honored. Some Cancers could be in school, right? Higher education. Some of you could be wanting to learn something like astrology in a very slow, steady way. The energy of Saturn favors longevity. So there is no rush for creating what it is that you're creating, Cancer. And with Saturn in the ninth house, you're really wanting your faith and your big picture beliefs to be grounded. You're wanting them to be time honored. And there feels to be a conflict of sorts playing out because Saturn is in the ninth, squaring off with Jupiter, which is in the 12th. So there can be certain crises of faith that you are navigating, oscillating between some days trusting your intuition and trusting in God and having faith within the divine, and the next moment navigating intense feelings of doubt or confusion. Some of you could even be navigating, is this even good for me? Some of you could find diving into these territories can be creating some fear or some intense energies that you are navigating, where you are really having to contemplate, what is the role that these modalities, that these practices play within my world? This won't be a message for everyone, but like for some of you who are religious or belong to an institution, there can be a blockage around, I want to connect to this religion, but also with Jupiter in the 12th house, I have to release my tarot cards and astrology. Like there just could be certain contemplations around the way that things are done from a very academic and spiritual, time-honored standpoint versus what is bubbling within you, your own intuitive gifts and abilities, as well as your own embedded fears and subconscious processes. So there can be an energy around needing to rectify around what it is that you believe in and how it is that you're tapping into spirit. There can be a conflict that activates when that square activates, which is August 2024 and December 2024. And the final theme that I wanted to get you acquainted with is your Chiron energy. And I had highlighted it earlier within your Where's My Ruler section, but I want to bring to the surface here that if you have Cancer placements between 15 to 23 degrees Cancer, you will have a Chiron square this year. And sometimes Chiron squares can trigger us quite a bit. And again, Chiron is in the 10th house, so you can find that you have a boss who kind of triggers you, or even a new opportunity that triggers you a little bit. And so with the Chiron energy, there can be certain wounds that do come up this year. And like I said, your future needs you. And a lot of Cancers are looking towards the future. You're preparing for Jupiter to cross your ascendant. That's exciting. And when we get triggered, particularly when it has to do with stories of the past, oftentimes that can be essentially fleshing that out of our system. And there can be certain external events that occur this year that bring you back to embedded stories within you. For example, with Chiron transit in 10th house, you could have a boss or authority figure who triggers you. There could be events at work or within career that trigger you, that bring you back to your own insecurities and inadequacies. And I want to let you know, Cancer, if that happens, those are coming to the surface to be washed away. Or if anything, a lot of you are feeling called to show up in this more healing way, in this more empowered way, in this more vulnerable way. So for some of you, this old stuff can be activated for you to be able to pull it into how it is that you're feeling called to show up, to lead, to guide, to empower. And so Cancer, in closing, I wanted to rapid fire go through where all of the outer planets are transiting within your chart so that you can tune into the big picture themes that are playing out within these energies. So I want to let you know within the first portion of the year, Jupiter will be transiting Taurus, which for you is bringing new opportunities for connection with like-minded individuals and blossoming into your future. The latter portion of the year, Jupiter will be in Gemini, which is gifting wisdom when you withdraw from the outside world, when you cut through the noise of social media and gossip in order to tap into your own inner landscape. A lot of you could find with Jupiter and Gemini, you're learning a skill and wanting to withdraw inward in order to learn a skill. For some of you, it could be a skill that helps you tap into your intuition. Saturn will be transiting Pisces throughout the duration of the year, which for you will be activating the 9th house of your natal chart, asking for you to build the muscle of having faith, to
to lean upon time-honored traditions in order to make sense with the world and to be able to attain wisdom in a way that is structured and grounded. Chiron will be transiting the 10th house of your chart, which can indicate a lot of you are feeling called to step into a role as a healer. You could be healing wounds of your past through the act of showing up, through the act of your own leadership. Uranus will be transiting the 11th house, so a lot of you can be connecting with very odd eccentric types, and you're really emboldening this very open, non-judgmental energy in regards to your community and your networks. Neptune will be transiting the 9th house of your natal chart. Again, it can be a very intuitive year. Just make sure you're also working that Saturnian muscle of discernment, as Saturn is also in this sector. And Pluto will dip back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn, it's wrapping up a journey that's been playing out around transforming your one-to-one connections, power struggles within them, obsessions within them, transformations within them. And then with Pluto entering Aquarius, which is your 8th house, there can be a call around evolving your merged finances. So Cancer, in closing, I've prepared you some soul-centered celestial affirmations, and these have been crafted from my heart to yours to allow you to continue to affix your gaze to the highest manifestations of these transits aligning for you, not against you, for you. And I've put all of these affirmations within a PDF, which you will see within the description. You're welcome to save it to your computer or print it, however it aligns for you. And the soul-centered celestial affirmations are as follows. I tap into my fearlessness. It is safe to be me. It is safe to be seen. My past does not define me. I am making my dreams come true for my future self. I connect with the like-minded, authentic souls who inspire me. I am discerning with whom I share my energy. To connect means to evolve. I allow my relationships to transform as I do. I am a creative soul. I can make things happen. I believe in my strength. I listen to the internal cues of my body, mind, and soul. I contract in order to expand. It is safe for me to be in solitude, to prioritize my hopes and dreams for the future. I deserve to succeed. My big picture beliefs give me the strength and the courage to keep going, to keep showing up. I advocate for the causes that I am passionate about. I am building a more beautiful future for myself, my community, and for humanity. And I'll leave you there, Cancer. I'm wishing you such a beautiful next year. Let me know what you are looking forward to within the comments below. Let me know, have you been feeling that Pluto and Capricorn energy? I'm telling you, you're all invited. We're gonna have a Pluto exiting Capricorn party November 2024, RSVP below. Thank you so much for spending the past hour or so with me. If you resonate with me and my style, I would deeply appreciate if you could subscribe. I do all sorts of videos, transit forecasts, a weekly horoscope series. I would love to have you part of the journey. And until we meet again, Cancer, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.